I believe calling a racist is racism. When we judge other people, we are being racists. When we're pigeonholing people into categories based on something they do or they say, that is racism. Racism is not about black or white or yellow or color or religion. Racism is when we judge people with our own understanding. We judge people by our own experiences and we try to pigeonhole them. That, I believe, is racism. And yes, I am a racist. This is not clickbait. I am a racist because I judge people by the first information I get about them. Which country they're from, what language they speak, what's their pronunciation, what's their accent. I try to judge and evaluate. Everyone does. And that is racism. The time has now come to live and to let live. Let people be who they are and get on with their own business, not with each other's business. Dennis.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I'm just going to say, FQ, I have a little bit of I'm a little bit challenged, coming from a linguistic background, I'm a little bit challenged with the term racism. I prefer prejudice, however, because really that's what we're talking about is so we're saying that I'm prejudiced towards a group of people based upon my own superiority, and that's really what we're talking about. Racism, I think that the term actually has evolved. I think that the term has actually evolved. And here's where I kind of wanted to take this is I'm going to share my screen really quickly. And here's a really great example. Here's a really great example of something that really, it has nothing to do with race. It has more to do with religion. I mean, check this out. This is now. I'm just going to come out and say, we all have presuppositions and assumptions about other cultures. I'm going to say my understanding of India in Hinduism was more about it's this polytheistic religion that is kind of live and let live and accepting to all things. This picture right here is a perfect example. A perfect example of just how wrong I was. This is a case right here, and I believe that the person on the ground is a Muslim, and this is a perfect example of brother hurting brother based upon a belief system. Based upon a belief system. It's just to the point of what exactly are we doing to each other? There is no way to take and say that this is honoring God, this is honoring Allah, nothing. This is absolutely disgusting and disgraceful that this happened. And, go ahead, please.
But the sad part about all of this was that it was actually state endorsed. There were police dragging people out of their homes and killing them and beating them up. This was not just your basic rioting. What happened in Delhi right before COVID struck. If COVID had not struck India, things would be really, really horrible there right now. And it was really atrocious what they were doing. Pulling people out, making them, drink cow piss, making them denounce their religion. If you don't do it, beat them up. But Dennis, you talk about prejudice. Do you think this is pure racism, or this is also just stupid prejudice?
I think it's both, because I don't think that as humans our minds are capable of really distinguishing these two. Hate is hate. And when you take and figure out a way to justify hate in any way, you're either prejudiced, you're a bigot, or you're a racist. I mean, either way, that's simply what it comes down to. And so prejudice is racism, racism is prejudice, it's all interconnected. And instead of splitting hairs and playing semantics games, it's time to just admit that what we're talking about goes way beyond biases, conscious and unconscious biases. When you actually take and start committing acts of violence against somebody, we're no longer talking about, even implicit biases, which is an extremely important part of where racism comes from. Implicit biases is simply a universal phenomenon of basically gender, race, culture, etc. And what we've done is we've taken these groups and we've marginalized them in some way. And this is inherent this is inside of us. It's not inherent, meaning we're not born with it. It's implicit, meaning that it lives within inside of us because it's been taught to us. It's been taught to us. It's been programmed. And, we've been talking about this. The United States is a mess right now. It's a mess right now. And, I've heard, I'm just going to take a little bit of sidestep here and say, I keep hearing that this is an opportunity. People are using being opportunistic with these riots, and I would agree with that. But again, now we're talking about a word. As an entrepreneur, I'm opportunistic. I take advantage of opportunities that come to me so that I can take and make money and so forth. So I think that we have to take and look at what these opportunities are providing us, and whether it's providing us an avenue to solidify our hate, or if it's actually taking and encouraging people to live and let live. What I'm seeing when I look at that photo of that poor person being beaten in India, what I'm seeing is that it's not about that we want everybody live and let live. It's not even about that certain. It's not even about superiority. It's about you're not doing what we tell you to. So it's really more about power and control than anything else. I mean, what I'm experiencing here in the U.S., and I have a lot of my clients that are coming to me and saying, hey, we're trying to support this movement. We're trying to do what we can. And yet when we put a post out, we end up getting attacked. So when I bring up people getting attacked about this, because now they're trying to support, we're being told, oh, you're just staying silent. You're the silent minority. No, absolutely not. It's like we are now in a time when it doesn't matter what, you're either not doing enough or you're doing too much and you don't know what you're doing. So no matter what, all we're doing is putting ourselves in situations to be criticized, and not just criticized, in many cases to have our businesses destroyed, to have our families attacked, to have our homes come and attacked by armed gunmen. I mean, at the end of the day, what the fuck are we doing here? This has nothing to do with God's love. It has nothing to do with Allah loving anybody. This is about human beings being dumbasses and trying to exert their own power and control.
I think, you said it very rightly, Dennis, and I'm going to build on that. You said hate is hate. I think it all boils down to hatred. And we as a race have hatred built into us. There is so much we hate. You have conversations, oh, I hate that bitch. Oh, I hate him. Oh, I hate her. Oh, he's so hateful. Oh, he's so disgusting. Oh, he's so they talk about people they know nothing about. And there is so much hatred and enmity, which I cannot understand where is it coming from. What are you hating? You've never met the person. You know nothing about the person, and yet you hate him. And these are not public figures. Fine, if it's a politician, you can hate them. If it's a leader, you can hate him, fine. But you know what? You cannot hate your neighbor. You cannot hate somebody on the street of Chicago I know nothing about. I can't see someone in a picture and say, oh, he looks like a Christian, so I hate him. You can't see a picture of somebody or a video of somebody, walking down a street in Philadelphia and say, oh, I hate this motherfucker. Why? Why? Where is this hatred coming? I am at a fucking loss. Mm-hmm. Where is this hatred coming from, man? Why is there so much hatred in today's society? Why can't we just accept people for who they are? Unless you've gotten into my space and hurt me, done damage to my property, my life, my family, what am I hating you for? Why do I have to hate anybody? Why?
Yeah, listen, I'm just going to come out and say it. There have been times in my life that I have hated certain people. I'm going to just come out and say it, FQ. I'm having a bit of a hard time with this. I'm having a visceral reaction to this whole conversation. I don't know that I don't consider myself to be a hateful person. I have held prejudice. I have held prejudices in a certain time in my life, and what I can tell you is holding on to those beliefs, holding on to those prejudices, and even in some cases hatred. So I guess the truth is I did hate, and really what I hated is I hated people that they wouldn't see my way, and I'm not really talking about color of skin. I'm saying or even religion. I'm talking specifically about that when I was a union officer. When I was a union president, and I would say, oh, this is the issues, that we're all for one for all. And then when people wouldn't buy in, when they wouldn't just go, oh, Dennis, you're so correct, there would be animosity I would build up towards that individual. And it was simply because they wouldn't buy into what I was trying to sell. And so what I can tell you is, having been that person, man, that was not just toxic for me, it was exhausting. Absolutely exhausting, because what I found myself doing, you look at what racists do. They're constantly running around trying to get other people to buy into their way of thinking. So really what they're doing is they're marginalizing themselves. just the same as I was. So even though that my prejudice and my hatred or anger or vitriol, whatever word we're gonna use, even though it wasn't directed at people of different races, it was directed at people of different beliefs, and it was simply because they didn't believe what I believed. And maybe I did. I don't think I necessarily looked at it because it wasn't a question of faith. It wasn't a matter of religion, anything. But when I even talking this out loud, it's very obvious in how much I had tied in to my belief system being correct and being right, and you're just a fucking idiot if you can't believe it.
And you're not even talking about the core belief system. You're not talking about religious belief. You're just talking about stupid little things. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think we need to eat a burger. You think you need to eat a fish. I'm going to say, oh, come on. Who the fuck eats fish in this weather? We got to go eat a burger. Something as stupid and ridiculous as that. And you know what? Thank you for pointing it out, Dennis. I mean, and I hope now that you realize you're not doing it. And I'd like to say I'm thankfully not doing that. But what I'm seeing in news all over the world right now is really scary. People are actually having arguments at that level. I mean, okay, I'm going to go a little forward. Why are people fucking destroying property? What does anything? And you know what's even worse? They're destroying property in their own neighborhoods. I mean, if they went to the other neighborhood and did that, I would say, okay, I can maybe find some respite in there. But you're destroying your own neighborhood. How does that help you? This rioting will end sooner or later. This has happened before. This is not going to go endlessly. But you know what? If for freaking 3 months, the world was shut down and we were saying we want to get out and work. We want to do business. We want to get back to life. The moment these idiots were let loose, they actually go and destroy their own cities. And it's not just happening in the US anymore. Now, you know what? In Tibet, there are protests against all this now. Now, in the UK, in London, Hyde Park, there were thousands of people gathering, Black Lives Matter. And it's now spreading all over the world. It is not sustainable. It will end. Arab Spring eventually ended after a few revolutions. Eventually, it all ends. The only thing that happens in the end is we the people, stand on the rubble of our own destruction.
Right. And
the government doesn't give a shit. Do you think the presidents and the prime ministers give a shit? They've got money. They move on. It is you and me, the people.
Absolutely.
We create our own graves and we go in them. For what? Why can't we do this peacefully, man?
Well, and I'm going to say, look at the picture I have up on the screen right now, and honestly, I'm going to just say, FQ, I come from a perspective where, and April and I were just having a conversation yesterday, and we're like, and she was just like, I never thought this could happen in our country. This has always been somewhere else. And what I'm simply saying is look at this. What good does this cause? What good does this cause at all? Who does this benefit? To have our cities and to have our I can show anything in the United States right now and it'll pretty much be the same thing. So all this destruction. I don't know the answer to your question. I don't know. Who does it benefit? No idea. It makes zero sense to me. I don't understand it. In fact, I'm just going to come out and say for those watching, listen. FQ and I, it's not like we were IMing and stuff back and forth about this broadcast, and I was hesitant to do it. Because at some point it's like I can't do anything correct. Everything I'm doing is wrong. Everything is subject to criticism. And so, you know what? I'm a human being too. And while for so many parts in my life I'm like I can be like this. There's certain things that I don't want to be like that with. Like, this is humanity. Why are we taking and hurting one another? Like at the same time, why is it that just hear me out for a moment. Here, just not that long ago, my country, my country took and, we were not very big, we were not very favorable towards Pakistan. And I can just tell you, of everybody I have met, in all the Pakistanis I have ever come in contact with, either from this show or from something else, or just in my walk of life, I don't know anybody that supports terrorism. I personally don't. So how could there right there is a way to challenge a belief system? So instead of listening to the government, in fact, I had a family member say to me, "Oh, why are you doing a show in Pakistan? They're all terrorists. They're all terrorists. It's the same as all white people in the United States are racist. Like, get your head out of your ass." There's nothing else to it. Instead of talking about washing asses, let's talk about pulling one's head out. That's the quickest way to clean it up. I mean, at the end of the day, man, like, hate is hate. And until we start, one of the things I actually thought of, and I'm going to finish off with this, and I'll stop my little rant for a moment, is one of the things I saw yesterday. A white gentleman went into a post office here in the United States. I don't know when this video was, but started the postal workers were African American. And so what does this guy do? He starts calling them every nasty racial name in the book. Every nasty racial name in the book. And so I know that this exists, but instead of the crowd saying, you're wrong, what if somebody in the crowd had gone up and go, you know what, sir, it's obvious that you hurt. I love you, regardless of your hate towards me. I understand that's a difficult task. I'm just simply saying, would the reaction have changed? Would the situation have calmed down? Should we instead of going, hey, be so quick to point the middle finger, how about let's be safe, because we do still have a pandemic going on, but how much nicer would it be to go, hey, you know what? Like, I love you. Instead of giving a hug or an embrace, let's talk about let's love, let's show one another respect, and if you can't do anything, at least give enough respect to shut your fucking mouth.
Okay, you said very rightly, people are saying, why are you doing this show with the Pakistani, or in Pakistan, they're all terrorists. Now, I can guarantee you this gentleman, whoever this person is, has probably never met a Pakistani, or at least hung out with one, or chatted with one, befriended one, and I can guarantee you that this person knows nothing about the country. I'm sure he can't even point the bloody thing out on a map. Now, what I'm trying to get at is, it is okay to be scared of things you don't know.
Absolutely.
It is perfectly all right to be apprehensive about people you don't know anything about, things you don't know anything about. It's okay. I'm scared of it. I don't understand it. Why do you fucking hate it? You don't have to hate anything. You don't have to judge anyone. Yes, you can be reserved about it. And that is a prejudice I was talking about. When I said I am a racist, that's what I'm referring to. That, if I see maybe a Taiwanese versus a Korean and an American and Italian, Italian pasta, garlic, Chinese fake handbags, we think of all those things, Indian and ban ban bing bing, we have all this thing going on. But these are just stereotypes.
Correct.
That does not mean I should hold prejudice against them. That should not mean I should hold bias against them. That does not mean that I hate somebody. But you know what the problem is, my friend? We do hatred. We would not intermarry. We would not hang out with other races. And that's why I said we are all racists. The only time this racism is subdued is when it's money. If I could hate, for example, I could hate an Indian, or Dennis could hate a Pakistani, but I'm not talking about Dennis in particular, I'm talking about a person. Yeah. But if he had to work for a billionaire Pakistani, he would gladly do it. If that Pakistani was paying his $100,000 a year, you'd work for him. Then suddenly the prejudice would be, right. So suddenly no prejudice. But if it's not your personal interest, oh, he's a terrorist, he is hateful, I hate the person, all those things will come out. So that's my problem with today's hatred, because it is for no reason. We just hate people for the sake of hating them. What is that, man?
I just think in a lot of ways, hatred has become sport. It really just has. It's become sport. It's become kind of in vogue in so many ways. And I'll just speak for the United States in that, a few years ago, a few years ago, and you asked why would somebody ask me why I do something? Why don't you hate Pakistanis? We have declared war on brown in this country. We truly have. Look at what's happening at our borders. Look at what's happening all over in this country. And so now, and I don't want to get into whether they're here illegally or legally. At the end of the day, the United States economy is 100% set up on migrant workers. We need them in order for people like me, to have cheaper food. And that's the reality. And I think it's just time to come out and admit it. So really, this war on brown, the interesting thing, FQ, is that the people that have told me this, these are all the ones that don't understand. Like when I've been in Mexico, and they're like, "Well, why would you go down there? They all want to come here." I'm like, because this is the fun side of Trump's wall. That's why. Because it truly is. So I think hatred has become just like the title says, hatred for the sake of hatred. It is meaningless. It doesn't mean anything anymore. It's just simply a way for people to take and create opportunities for themselves. It's a way for them to go into somebody else's business and get free stuff. This is what this is completely. This is to me, everything. All these protests and stuff. It is not honoring anybody's memory at all. I just want to say, there's a group that I like. There's a group that I like. It's called the Avett Brothers. So I don't know how popular they are, but they're a folk group. And one of the lines in their song says, "If I get murdered in the city, don't go revenging in my name." And I really like that, and I think that that's
Wow.
really appropriate for right now. Is that I can tell you that if something were to happen to me, I would not want, and I have a hard time thinking anybody would throw riots or protests for me, but I'm just saying I don't want that to happen at all. And I'm going to come out and say I don't think this is what George Floyd or any of these other people that have been victims of police brutality. Police brutality is bad, but I'm just going to simply say when you take and you look around the world, it's all over the place, and power corrupts people, period. That's where this comes from. And just like I was saying about my personal experience, they wouldn't believe the way I wanted them to believe, and they wouldn't do what I wanted them to do. I never physically harmed them, but I might give them a good old, "Oh, well, you're just an effing idiot," right? You're just too stupid to even understand. So automatically, I continued to marginalize them, and it had nothing to do with they just wouldn't believe me.
Beautifully said. George Floyd definitely, I'm sure, didn't want this. And the thing is, we hate others because they hated us. What we don't see is, it is hatred. Just that their hatred came out first doesn't mean we don't. Mm-hmm. Because you know what? If we were the loving kind, doesn't matter who hates you. You can of course block them from your life. You can walk away, but you don't have to hate them. Hate is unilateral. Hate is not bilateral. You don't hate people who hate you. Hate is one of those emotions which is completely unilateral. Hate is not something that comes out of other person's hatred. If Dennis hates me, doesn't mean I would hate him too. I would say, "All right, man, you hate me. I'll try to convince him. If it doesn't work, I'll walk away." I'll say, "That's fine. Okay, hate me all you want." I could be indifferent towards him. I can ignore him, avoid him. But why would I hate him? What we're seeing in the streets of the world today is hatred because you hated me, so I hate you. That I cannot justify. There is hatred in everyone, and it's just finding a reason to come out. So one event happens, and all this hate mongering comes out, and all these haters come out with their hatred for whatever they can find. They'll keep finding something new to hate because they're haters. We need to become non-haters. Am I right, Dennis? Yeah.
You're completely right. And this is what you can see is you can see, and I am going to come out and say I think that there's enough. Evidence and facts coming out that the BLM protests that have been taking place, they've been infiltrated. They have absolutely been infiltrated by people that just want to come. It was an opportunity for violence, for no other reason than to commit violence, to take and destroy things, and to steal stuff that wasn't theirs. And so, and you're completely correct. Because as soon as the tides change, as soon as now we can have another target, this is nothing more than an outlet for built-up, pent-up aggression and rage that is from something completely completely different. And a lot of people, the reason that they like to hate FQ from a psychology standpoint is because it's easy. It's easy. It's low-hanging fruit.
I want you to correct. You said it's pent-up hatred. I don't think so. I want you to reconsider that line.
Okay.
Pent-up hatred would mean they had a reason to be hateful. They have no reason to be hateful.
Oh, but they believe
pent-up hatred.
But they believe that they do.
Yeah, well, that's their lie. That's their justification. That's their bullshit.
Sure.
The bottom line is they're just bad people with hatred in them. It's not pent-up hatred. It's just they're full of hatred.
They are full of hatred.
If they're not taking it out on the streets, they would be taking it out in homes. If they're not taking it out in homes, they're taking it out, among friends, among family. They would be hating something.
See, I think that the reason a lot of these protests happen, and the reason I use the word pent up is they're angry about something. They're using this as an outlet. Whereas a lot of times they're not necessarily going to take it out on family because it's too close. It's too close and so forth. One of the things that I have to actually deal with this on Friday. Is several of the athletes that I have worked with in the past. These are kids, and they are not understanding what is going on in our country. And so again, like, what are we teaching our children? This is continuing to reinforce a message. It's continuing to reinforce programming. And what it's doing is it's causing, as kids and stuff come up, regardless of where you're at in the world, at about 15, 16 years old, all of us start questioning our environment because we're starting to see inconsistencies. We're starting to see lots and lots of contradictions. So it's really a natural part of life and a part of the maturation process. I am just simply saying that hatred for hating just because of hate, people attach themselves to that because it's easy. To actually take and express love, to take and actually critical think, that just takes too much effort. When all I have to do is go, you know what, I don't like you, and punch you in the face. And that's what we do. Or I don't like you, and you can't stop me. That's just what it's all about. Is when we stop saying, well, it doesn't say I can't do it. The law doesn't say I can't. It's always looking for a way to justify our fucked up beliefs and bullshit behavior.
Yes, agreed. And I don't think they do it because it's easy. I think they do it because they want to do it. Even if it was difficult, they would hate. They don't want to love because I'm sorry, in their upbringing, in their environment, they have not been taught to love and to value it. As a result, they are just haters, and they would actually go out of their way to express that hatred, to show hatred, and to hate something or the other. They make a hardcore effort to express their hatred for nothing. If you ask them, what are you hating? I'm sure they would know. I'm sure they wouldn't have an answer. And it's the same people you see riot after riot, protest after protest. It's the same kind of people. You forwarded me this video earlier on about two African American boys talking about what the hell is going on, and they made a very interesting point. A lot of these people, I'm sure, do not know what they're protesting. I'm sure they have no idea who George is and what happened to him. They just are protesting because there was a protest. They were rioting because there was a riot. They were looting because there was looting. Mm-hmm. Why did you loot? Because I could.
Right.
It's like, why do you hate? Because there's no law against it. So why did you steal a freaking television? Because I could.
Because I could.
Why did you steal a handbag? Because everybody else was stealing it.
Right.
That's the bloody justification for everything.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and there's actually social psychology actually has a term for this, and it's called cognitive dissonance. And really what that is it's applying oneself into the groupthink process. So it really, they go hand in hand. And so cognitive dissonance really is just that, like, I feel excluded, so I want to be included. And then that's what ends up happening. So now I actually just spoke with somebody who is a police officer in the DC area, and this is a person that was these are all transplants, it's not local people. When they had to work the holding cell for the night and take and manage the people that had broken curfew, he just asked, hey, where are you from? Well, they were all from that area. Many of them, he said, hey, so why did you do this? One, don't be talking to cops. Two, is that, at the end of the day, what they were doing, they said, oh, I just went out here to see what was going on and I got caught up in it. And I think that that's true. The haters are the ones that are protesting. The haters are the ones that are, that groupthink is a very real thing, FQ. Go ahead.
But how do you, no man, I'm so sorry. How do you get caught up in looting? Please explain that to me, man.
You're talking about negative groupthink. That's what happens is it's negative groupthink, and we all want to take and be a part of something. So it allows us the ability to take and feel like we are part of the movement. I don't think most of the people doing this are hating.
A little Barbie doll and raped all over the parties. So that was.
Say that again. We're breaking up for some reason. My connection doesn't seem to be very good today.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. I think my connection is not doing well today.
Okay, no worries. I'm saying, so what you're saying is, remember that girl, the drunk girl they dragged around all over the parties and raped her one night, and so is that groupthink? What the hell?
Absolutely.
Come on. If you were there, God forbid, would you have participated? I don't think so, man.
No, and I would not have, but I'm going to also come out and say, you know what, like I look at a lot of these videos. Where you literally will see 1 or 2 police officers taking one person down, but yet there's 15 to 20 people standing around with their phones out. If you're that outraged, kick those cops' ass. If you're that outraged, pull them off. And save somebody's life instead of talking about, anything else. Like, if that's what you want and that's where you're at, then stop filming, stop talking about it, and act like you're demanding everybody else to do.
I agree that's a level, but as a journalist, I would also justify making that footage yourself, because there's certain things I can't stop in real time, but I can do something in. But my point is, you don't participate. People
Correct.
who participate have the potential to do this. This becomes a trigger or an excuse for them to become who they really are. The Incredible Hulk is the Incredible Hulk. It is a situation which triggers him becoming a Hulk. If you're not a Hulk, you will never become a Hulk. So these people, they are just bad people who become bad, and the justification, oh, I got caught up in the situation, I was angered, I was upset, and whatever. Good people never become bad people, no matter what's happening. That's my take, man.
Yeah, I wish it was that simple. I think that there's a lot of good people that end up getting caught up into bad situations. However, I do think it comes down to, being strong enough, to take and stand on your own. So the only thing I just want to say is that, we're talking about, so I'm just going to come out and say this. Emotionally intelligent people, people that are psychologically stable individuals, meaning that they have a healthy self-esteem, they have a strong sense of self, they're not necessarily defined by cultural norms, really are not racist by definition. So it's not that they can't get caught up in groupthink or a mob mentality. It's just simply that the only way that we're ever going to take and overcome any of this is to really become more emotionally intelligent and to become more psychologically stable in understanding that, sometimes people are just like, hey, this isn't my fight. This isn't my fight. I can support you from behind. But now we're living in a world where it says, no, pick a side. We're forced to pick a side. And I'll tell you, as a human being, I don't want to be forced into anything. And I certainly don't want to pick a side that I don't agree with one view or another. I think there's a lot of neutrality, and I think there's a lot of middle ground and that's the part that's being missed. What we're doing is we're closing that middle ground, and we're saying, nope, it's this or this. Like I'm telling you, I'm a human. One of the reasons I like living in the United States is because I can have lots and lots of choices, and too many choices in some cases, and choices that aren't necessarily good for me. But I have the choice, and I have the free will to engage in something positive or something negative.
Okay, it's not. I think You don't have to be either side. A lot of times
Correct.
when you're being bullied into taking a side, it's not that I don't agree with this. A lot of times I don't give a fuck. I don't give a damn about the situation. I don't want to be involved. I don't want to take any side. Regardless, my point here is, yes, you're right. This is the age and era where you're bullied into committing to either side and making a fool of yourself either for this side or that side. And that is incorrect. People need to be left alone to do whatever the hell what they want to do, whatever they believe. And also, I think we're coming from an era just 10 years ago where people lived in isolation. Yes, we've been a connected world. You know, it's a small world, and Disney World has been saying that for a long time. But no, now it's really a small world. Till about 5 years ago or 7 years ago, we couldn't do what we're doing right now. This did not exist. This is something new, that, you know, video conferencing, telephones, internet. So now what's happening is we still don't understand that we are not me. One individual is not God's gift to humanity. One individual does not have the final ultimate opinion or belief. We all have different beliefs. It's a huge world. And you know what? Very soon, we're going to have a Star Trek or a Star Wars situation. We'd probably be walking with Klingons and whoever's. There will be more opinions and more faiths and more beliefs put into this mix. So we need to understand we're not superior nor inferior. I don't have to take any side. The only side you have to choose is good, good or bad. I cannot slap anyone. I can hate somebody in my heart, but that has to stay in my heart. It's no longer a world where we can use our prejudices to harm or hurt people. That era has to come to an end now. This is no longer that world where, you know what, somebody in Picayune, Mississippi could sit there quietly and hate somebody from Pakistan, or somebody sitting in a little village out in Philippines could hate somebody in Taiwan. It just doesn't work that way, man. We are really, really interconnected now.
We totally are, and I completely agree with that. And just to my point about the comments that have been made to me about, oh, you have Middle Eastern clients, oh, you have friends in Pakistan. You know, the truth is, yes, as soon as COVID ends, listen, I'm down to come to Pakistan. And people have said to me, well, why would you go there? I'm like, well, why would I not? Well, it's so dangerous. Oh, it's so dangerous as opposed to walking down the street in New York City or Chicago right now. How about Minneapolis? Because that's so fucking safe, right? Like again, pull your head out. Pull your head out before just casting these judgments at other people, and look what's going on right in our own backyard.
And when they say it's so dangerous, do they even know where this country is? Can they put it in the bloody map? Have they ever read any real news about the country? How can you say, oh, whatever? Screw it, man.
No.
Let's hear the comments people have in the comments.
No, they haven't.
We have been ignoring. So
you know the answer to that as well as I do.
I know. Let's look at the comments, man. I'm going to do the comments in the reverse order. Entire marriage condition in Pakistan is based on accepting and rejecting marriage on the basis of skin color, i.e. Gora. White is accepted. Black is equal to rejection. Yet Pakistan is trying to be relevant in Black Lives Matter movement. Is so funny. Well said.
Hey, it's kind of, to me, it's kind of like the American Christian evangelical picture of Jesus. Jesus was not white. He could not have been. He could not have been coming from the region he came from. Come on. That's just nonsense.
Did the Caucasians even exist back then? I don't think so, man.
I don't think so. I mean, it's the wrong region.
So here we have this bloody Fair and Lovely going on, and there's whole advertising with Fair and Lovely saying, oh, there's a proposal coming for you, but you're so dark. And suddenly she uses Fair and Lovely, and her skin transforms to white in 7 days because this fucking thing has bleach in it. And suddenly she's got this Prince Charming coming for her. So yeah, Khushbu, thank you for pointing out that.
Yeah, thank you. That's absolute nonsense. And whatever. That's
I've
just
slapped
so
people before. Come on, Rafia, that's nasty. You can't do that.
You can just get away with it because you're a girl.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Hate is really time consuming. Absolutely.
No, yellow is basically the Oriental race.
I assume that's some sense. I didn't even catch that, so I don't even know what you're talking about there.
Well, I mentioned, yeah. Dennis,
gonna
you see
put
anything
this-
interesting?
Yeah,
Go
I'm gonna put this one up just because it compliments me. And I needed some of that today. So, Muhammad, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's, we just have to like start at the end of the day, like, my understanding of the afterlife is we're all going to be there together, and that's why would we hate each other here? Let's like set ourselves up for success in the afterlife as well. Come on. Such nonsense. Thank you.
Here's an interesting one. Hamad said rightly, it was amusing for me how the people standing by did not physically. In Pakistan, the policeman would have been manhandled. No, he would not have been manhandled. They probably would have done him. Because we have serious mob culture here, man.
Hey, if this police brutality that we're fighting against, then let's fight against the police brutality instead of taking it out on each other.
Yeah. Well, poor guys, they have no idea what you can say.
Stuck in the weeds of everyday hate if we don't so, you know what?
Here
Harlan?
comes the... Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not really familiar with Friedman's works. However, what I am going to say is if we get stuck in the weeds of everyday hate, we don't recognize the setup. And that's completely true. And what's really interesting is happening in the U.S. right now is how much is actually coming out about how racism is truly sewn within the fabric of our society. I mean, again, I'd leave certain cultures out. Let's look at the immigrant or the migrant population here, the ones that actually are the ones providing food for my table. And what do? We want to kick them out. And what do we tell them? We use all of these little microaggressive terms. Oh, if you're going to be in my country, you need to learn our language. What? Like, are we that stupid of humans? Are we that deliberately ignorant that we don't even know where our food is coming from? Go ahead, kick them out. And when you can't afford to put food on your table because you were so caught up in making sure everybody went back to their own country, half these people that get said to were born right here. It's just absolute insanity. And this just seems
Brexit,
kind of like
man.
Same thing. It just seems more like an elitist power grab. An elitist power grab of trying to maintain control and power that's slipping from their grips.
With no common sense behind it.
Correct.
Okay, here. Okay, now here's the hatred. It's a fake account, I'm sure, fake picture, I think. But look at this comment. This is what we were talking about. People just have... See, now, this is not group mentality, man. This is just the piece of shit we are. Okay, here's another one, Amina. Same criticism, awareness. We all are. Solution. We've been talking about the solution. You need to understand by analyzing a problem, we have given you the solution for 45 minutes. Anyways, Sonia Kaur says, bringing down an already broken economy and just wait for the thing. Yes, Sonia,
you got to back up because this is going to take me.
Never talked.
You gotta back up a minute, FQ, because Gora is a new word for me. So define that for me, please. Define that for me.
Gora
please.
is white.
Oh, okay.
Gora, kala, white, black.
Okay.
So Gora is white. But Gora is how we refer to, like the Goilos in China. In China you call Goilos. Here you call Gora.
Okay. And when I visit Hawaii, so actually my own country, I'm referred to as a haole.
Howie. Okay. What does that mean?
Haole, haole. It means white person. It means white person, and the reason is because it's taking and lumping everybody together. Because if you look at how the Hawaiian Islands became part of the United States, It was all done through religious missionaries. It was done through religious missionaries, and we took their country from them.
Okay.
Yep. See?
Yeah, a lot of people took a lot of countries from a lot of. Don't want
Of
to
course.
go fucking there, man. Okay.
Of course.
Well, thank you very much, Amina.
Thank you, Amina. That's nice of you to say.
An excuse to show humans' true colors, the rage and greed. Yeah, that is the true color. You're right.
Yeah.
These people have messaged me personally with screenshots of my post. But okay, well, screw them. Don't worry about it. Okay. Amber says, Dan, my friend, today I understand the meaning of the care emoji introduced by Facebook. Just click it as do care for your broadcast. Oh, there's a care emoji? I didn't know that. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Amber. Yeah, it's an interesting emoji. That it's about care, and here's the interesting thing we talked about hate, and I have seen other people on my feed talking about how stupid and how like irrelevant that new thing was, and that new emoji, and they're making fun of it. It's just like anything that we do, anything that anybody does that's nice or caring or loving, man, you're just setting yourself up to be attacked. Like, it just makes no sense to me that we're attacking people, or even Facebook. I like that emoji. I do. So, Amber, thank you so much. I'm very blessed for our friendship and our relationship. And my life has, you've truly added value to my life, as all the viewers. And I've been very welcomed. This is the interesting thing. And I just need to take a minute to say this, FQ, is I have actually been very, very welcomed. I've been very welcomed by a country I was told to hate, that my own country told me to hate. So I just want to say thank you for dispelling the rumors and proving my country wrong, and the belief system that's here is wrong. Hate is wrong. It never makes any sense. It just truly doesn't, other than we're not using our critical thinking abilities, or we don't know how to understand that it's just all bullshit and nonsense. We're being manipulated.
Thank you. I think you just pointed out an interesting thing. I think idiots who know they're idiots hate others because they're just stupid. And they know they're stupid. The more stupid a person, the more he hates. Lazy people hate people who do well. Lazy people hate hardworking people. You know what? People who don't get off their arse and work hard would hate people who work hard. People have this problem. They hate anything they cannot do themselves. Hatred comes out of jealousy. Hatred is really just jealousy. That's all it is.
Yeah, and I'm just going to say, most racists, truly all they're doing is projecting or, looking for somebody to blame their own flaws and inadequacies on someone else or some other group because they feel marginalized in some way. It's like, if you don't want to feel marginalized when you've had opportunity, and I hear this a lot from like white Caucasians in the United States. Look, and if you're being disenfranchised, get off your ass. You're the only one taking and doing that to yourself. Racism is nothing more than a way to take and blame and to demonize somebody else for shit you can't get done on your own. Makes no sense. Absolutely. It's absolutely dumb.
Sorry, no, not this one. There's another comment. He said, sorry. Yeah, this is an interesting comment. These riots are going to embolden pro-arms groups and pro-gun lobbies. Absolutely.
Ishan, I absolutely agree. And this is what the thought process is for these groups like Antifa and other groups like this, that they want to come in and they're pushing an agenda. Listen, I don't know. I've had people go, oh, it's the Russians interfering. Like, I don't know whether it's the Russians or not. What I know is that, like, at the end of the day, it's promoting hate, and hate only promotes more hate. Until we start like trying to like figure out a way to overlook our differences, or we tell these idiots that are telling us how to think to shut up. I actually thought this one was pretty interesting, FQ. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I popped you. I know. I'm sorry. Yeah, go on, man.
Hate is stupidity.
Those people who can't do it. Absolutely. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's the same. It's the same people. It's the same people that will criticize, FQ and I for creating, like, create something opposing. instead of just sitting like making stupid fake accounts and being trolls.
Or just don't watch, man. Walk away.
I tell you, man,
have
the
to,
number
just
one
walk
skill.
away, man.
I had somebody walk by my house the other day, and they walked by my house, and what they were upset. They were saying, hey, there's kids out here in the neighborhood, and blah blah blah. And my point to them was, you know what? I understand there's kids in the neighborhood. As their parent, why don't you teach them a valuable life lesson? Mind your own business.
So what were they complaining about? What have you done?
I didn't do anything. I was not doing anything that was illegal or against the law. People just want to come by. This is
there you go. You just said it. I was doing it because it's not against the law. Look at you.
What I was doing was I was using my medication that I was allowed to use, which is cannabis. And so I had worked out. I had had a long day. My body was sore. My mental health was jacked up. And listen, if anybody, I understand that's not legal everywhere, but tune into Back to the Basics, because we're going to be talking specifically about how marijuana saved my marriage. So we can laugh about it all that we want, and we can make jokes. However, there is a legitimate science behind the medical benefits of it. And it's just, people ask me, well, why do you use that? Why do I use it? For the same reason people take antidepressants and anti-anxiety medicines. Because it helps me to have a different perspective of the world, the same as those medications do. So tune into Back to the Basics if you want to know more about that topic. That's really where we'll get into that. And the point that people were making was, hey, don't come out here, like, my kids are out here, you shouldn't be smoking that stuff. And my point to them was, first of all, I'm authorized by the state. Second of all, I'm authorized by the federal government. Third of all, mind your own fucking business. Maybe that's the lesson you should be teaching your children, is instead of inserting themselves into other people's business, set a better example of telling them how to be tolerant of others instead of making it out about you.
So this was the comment, yeah?
Yeah.
Which are popular.
A couple living in. Well, I don't know what that word is.
Juggi is a shanty town.
Okay. The micro
makeshift
aspects.
housing.
Yeah, I can't speak to other cultures that are born. What I'm going to say is, here in the United States, people do have different opportunities. We're not born equal. We're born different. It's about, I don't even understand that comment. We're not, what are we talking about with equality? We're born different. We're all born with different skill sets. The Bible, the Quran, everything, all these religious books talks about we're all born with different gifts. They all contribute to society. It's about understanding and respecting and accepting each other's differences instead of focusing on everything that's alike. I can't speak to anybody else and being born into a shanty town. I don't know. I'm just simply going to say, you know what? People wrote me off.
Everyone has their own challenges, man.
Absolutely.
Everyone has unique challenges. Okay, people whose ancestors have great empires, the Americans, now in Chinese people in the future will be arrogant, but that does not mean they're racist. It's all about being dominant. What? Dominant? Okay, well, whatever.
I don't even know how to reply to that.
Dennis, any comment on this?
No.
I have nothing to say.
Move on.
Yeah. Who will love us even if we cut them into pieces, and those who will hate us even if we feed them poom. Fair enough, man.
Yeah, absolutely,
Fair enough.
Mohammed. Very, very, very true. Very true.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for pointing that out. You will never
Amir.
find any hypocrisy on this show, man.
Yeah,
There'll be no hypocrisy here.
I'm probably transparent to a fault. So, I think we all have to kind of come to terms with who we are as people. Amir, this is what we talked about on the weekend, right? Who am I? And who I am is somebody that is transparent. And because if all I do is take my own mistakes and learn from them by myself, there's value in that. But I think it's a lot more valuable when other people can learn from my missteps and the ways that I put myself in situations. Again, you heard me right. How I put myself in situations that were unfavorable or weren't didn't set me up for success. So, you know, at the end of the day, hatred is hatred, and there is no justification, there is no excuse. It's a deeper level than a stereotype, and you know, we're all subject to it. It's the same as people that make you know, jokes or underhanded comments. One of the things that comes to my mind is, you know, when we talk about some of these like underhanded remarks, is like, oh, that's woman's work. Come on. Like, the only thing that's women's work is actually delivering the children. And, you know, that's it.
That's the only thing that,
stupid.
That's the only thing you physically cannot do.
Correct. Like, I mean, why shouldn't I clean up after my own mess? Why shouldn't I, like, clean up after that? And you know, you can even see, like, go ahead.
As for avoiding hypocrisy, not being hypocrites, we are more than willing to be hypocrites if someone's willing to pay the price for it. It's just expensive. And the day you find this show becoming hypocritical, know that we've been paid very well for it. So we're up for sale, anyone who's buying. And here's a comment. Amr Yusufi says, you're both Goras. No, sir. He's a Gora. I am not. I'm way better looking than any Gora you would ever come across. I don't want to give up my hotness to be Gora. No offense to you, man. You're hot. You're a hot dude. But you know what? You know what I mean.
You know, and it's funny, you mentioned that being hot, and I get asked, one of the questions I get asked quite often is, hey, you know, with that big beard, doesn't having a beard in the desert make you hot? And I'm like, hey, where I live has absolutely nothing to do with how hot I am.
You're both amazing. Thank you very much, Khushbu. God bless you. What's a Shandown? Kachi Abadi. You turn a man who does then to create love and yeah, well, okay. So you turn a man who does love and heart for him.
I think it just depends. I think it depends.
Yeah.
You know, I think that there's a lot of people. I don't think most people enjoy hating. It's a miserable existence to just be that full of hate and vitriol all the time. Like you see the world in such a negative way. I mean, to hate is just so much effort. It really just takes so much effort, and it makes no sense. Why would you not want to take and just even if you don't want to like or embrace other people, why would you not want your own existence to be more peaceful, more full of content, as opposed to, you know, fighting, and fight, even if it's just fighting in your own head about cursing somebody or cussing them because of a hatred or a bias that we have. It's just exhausting, and it's too much effort, and it completely, I don't know, in my mind, it takes the joy out of living, and we only get to be here one time.
Before we sign off, thank you very much for joining us. Quickly, you can see my website. Please go there. Click on my YouTube and Facebook page links if you're not there already. Subscribe so you get notifications. YouTube, you got to watch this on YouTube. If you really want a high definition, good quality video, start watching on YouTube, not on Facebook. And these are Dennis's details. Please go there because he's doing a lot of good stuff with Back to Basics, and now he's releasing a lot of lovely content on Instagram as well. So subscribe to his Instagram and YouTube. We're both not on TikTok yet, but all our Instagram, YouTube, Facebook links are on our websites. I still haven't got the hang of TikTok, man.
I'm trying. Right. You know, I'm trying, and what I'm going to say to that is it's just a really interesting. It's really interesting how these platforms change. So I tried to learn Snapchat, and now Snapchat's not really the thing anymore. So it's just kind of interesting how the evolution of these platforms. I love technology. I wish I understood it a little bit better. I'm doing what I can to learn. A cool story about TikTok, FQ, is one of my clients, they took I said, hey, try to get your staff doing videos on TikTok. Oh, no. Resist. Now, the interesting thing is they released their very first video. They started an account. They released their very first video. They got over, I think they're up to like 120,000 reactions. And the store that they're promoting is actually they're getting people lined up to take and come and buy products that they didn't even know existed. So it's a pretty interesting phenomenon, and it's a whole lot more than just dancing. So yes, I am doing what I can to learn that. So, but hey, thank you so much everybody for watching.
Before we leave, man,
Grindr.
I am on both actually. I am on Tinder and Grindr. Don't even begin to ask me why. All right, The Grinder profile was actually I made it because I at one time before Tinder happened, I was writing an app for the same purpose, a much better app. But then I gave up and I retired, so I quit. So yes, you will find me on just about almost every website in the world, every social network, every chat network. You will find me on from ICQ to IRC. I'm pretty much registered everywhere. I still have my ICQ accounts active. Yahoo AIM has disappeared. Yahoo Chat has disappeared. But I'm everywhere. I make an account everywhere.
Yeah, and now the cool thing, now that I've hitched my cart to your wagon, we've been working together. I'm just waiting for more hatred to come my way.
It's not gonna come, man. You know what? I switched to English. To English to get rid of the haters, and mostly because they don't understand. Oh, come on, Orchid? Obviously, man. Really? That's not even a question. Of course, I was a king of Orchid back in the day. I can't imagine you to know. Of course, I'm on both, and even others. Coffee and bagel and all those. I'm everywhere. Are we done?
I think we have kind of covered this, man.
All right.
Yeah. So.
Sounds good, man. We're done.
Hey, thank you so much, everybody, for watching and your comments. Thank you. And, at the end of the day, find reasons to love one another. Thanks.